No problem at all. Thanks, Julie, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this sunny Monday morning. So hopefully no one has been washed away with all the rain we've had over the weekend. Yeah, I'm here. My name's Kirsty Miles-Musgrave, and I'm the Investment Operations Manager at the Growth Hub. You may have heard of the Growth Hub before. We have been around for nearly 8 years now, previously funded through the European programme and now funded by the UK Share Prosperity Fund. And I'm here to talk to you about the services that are available through the Growth Hub for local businesses. So in terms of what the Growth Hub is, setting the scene a little bit. So we are a signposting organisation. We do not deliver support ourselves. What we do is we talk to businesses and we understand their challenges and their opportunities. And then we look for the right support, training and funding to help them achieve their business goals. So what we do is we take the hassle out of finding out the support. We know that there is a varied landscape available, and businesses are, the one thing we hear from businesses is that they're time poor, so they do not have time to visit 25 different websites and ring 5 different organizations to find out maybe if they can get some support. So the reason we are here is to take the hassle out of that and to do the legwork on your behalf. So we are the single point of contact for business support, funding and skills locally, but also we do look regionally and nationally. So it's very bespoke. It's very much dependent on what that individual business is looking for. And then we will look locally, regionally and nationally to understand what is available in those 3 areas of support, funding and training. Now, the difference between, some of you might be aware through the European programme, there was some eligibility criteria in terms of sector and size of businesses. That no longer is the case. So we can talk to any business, whether you are looking to start a business or whether you are an existing business, whether you are whether you're a fishing business, whether you're an agricultural businesses, retail, hospitality, manufacturing, you know, there's no ineligibility in terms of sector and size to access the support that is available through the Growth Hub. Obviously, from a grant point of view, there are some eligibility criteria to work through. And then so you can see there, we have been commissioned by the UK Share Prosperity Fund, and locally that is called the Good Growth Programme or the Good Growth Fund. So if you hear people talk about Good Growth Programme or Good Growth Fund, that is the overarching delivery of the UK Share Prosperity Fund locally in Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly. So UK Share Prosperity is a national government initiative and is available across the country. And in Cornwall, we have been allocated some funding for things like business support, community support, and things like that. So the Growth Hub is a commissioned project under the Good Growth Programme, and there's some confusion around that, so I just wanted to clear that up. And so therefore we have been allocated a series of grant funds, and also business support has been commissioned that to access that support you need to come and talk to the Growth Hub. So that's a difference again from the European programme, where there were lots of different projects all shouting at businesses, all have with their own marketing budgets or with their own communications, talking at businesses often on a multiple basis. So businesses might have had contact from several different organizations saying, hey, we've got support, and that's obviously not massively useful from a business point of view of having to understand what's there. So essentially the Good Growth Programme made the decision that they wanted the Growth Hub to be the single point of access, the front door to access that support and that funding. And so we are here to talk to you about your business needs, your challenges and opportunities, as I've said, and then we go away and do the research to find out what support, training and funding can be available. Now, I did mention that we were allocated some grant funding. So that happened last summer. So we launched in August with a £10 million grant scheme, and then that was topped up through the Rural England Prosperity Fund to £11 million. And that grant scheme has been open since August last year. And I was going to talk to you today about the grants that we're actually providing. However, on Friday, we have actually taken the decision to pause our grant scheme. And that is because we have the interest, the pipeline in our grants far outweighs the actual funding available. So rather than giving businesses the impression that there's lots of funding available and then go through an application form and then perhaps find out there isn't any funding left, we have paused for new applications until the end of March. where we will review what we currently have, and then if there is any headroom left in any of the funding, we will go back out and we will reopen. However, what I want to be clear of is if you've got a fantastic project that you think you can deliver really good economic outcomes, like you might be looking at creating jobs, you might be looking at really making a huge step change in your business, we'd still like to talk to you about those, and we are running a reserve list for grants. So all the information on our grant schemes are available on our website. I won't go through them today because I'd rather focus today on the business support that is very much still available. But if you are looking for grant funding through your business and you really, it's a really strong project that you think you can deliver great economic outcomes, then please feel free to jump onto the website, and I'll make sure I post it in the chat when I finish talking. And you can go and have a look at those, and you can still book in with us to have a conversation, and we can put you through, if we think it's a strong enough project, we can put you through to a reserve list that we will then go back to should there be some funding available. I realise this is probably disappointing news for some of you. It's very much hot off the press. The decision was taken on Friday. And that is partly because we have been running a couple of expressions of interest for specific grants, and they have been so oversubscribed, really taken us by surprise. 12 times oversubscribed actually for the funding that's available. And so what that means is now our pipeline has gone from a manageable level to a very high level, and we want to be fair to the businesses that have put expressions of interest and applications in now, but also fair to businesses that have yet to put in applications. So we're managing that expectation. We don't want to give people sort of false impression. So essentially there is grant funding that is available, but at the moment we are not taking any new applications. But as I said, if you want to talk to us about your project, feel free to get in touch, and we can go from there and potentially put you through to the to that reserve list. But really today what I wanted to do was focus very much on the business support that's available. So all of these offers here have been commissioned through the Good Growth Programme, and they are accessible via the Growth Hub. So you get in contact with us, we talk to you about your business. You don't have to understand all of these necessarily. I am going to go through and give you some headlines so you can understand where you might fit in, but you don't have to remember any of these headlines. You don't have to remember what any of the projects are called. All you need to do is get in contact with us. We'll have a conversation with you, and then obviously move you on to whatever business support is relevant for you at this moment in time. So we're going to go through these individually, just so you can understand what the offer is. So I start with startup support, and I know we've got a specific session on Thursday, I think it is, Julie, where we're looking specifically at what that startup support is available. And that's if people are what we call pre-start, so you haven't started your business yet, or you might actually be a new business. So you might have been trading less than a year and are looking for some help to make sure that you avoid some of those common barriers to success, those current obstacles, which are challenges to startup. So that startup support is available. That's being run by either two full day sessions or actually 4 online sessions. So it's very accessible in terms of if you're not able to travel. And essentially what we're looking to deliver is understanding what your business model look like. So that's if you have yet to start your business, or actually if you're a new business, testing that and understanding, is that business model right for you? Understanding customers, that's a vital piece of understanding. So before you spend money and time and capacity doing some marketing, do you really understand who your customers are and where they are, and also who your competitors might be? So they look at a little bit of that value proposition and understand where you might fit in that market. And then they move on to marketing. So first of all, you need to understand who you're marketing to, and then there's an offer around specific marketing. So understanding where you can find your customers and what's right for you in terms of marketing channels. Lots of people immediately go, I've got to throw money at social media. That might not be right for the customers in your business. Understanding how to measure success and measuring what impact your marketing has, and also then some sustainability as well. So that's looking at how you can make sure that you are developing your business on a sustainable basis. And then finally, it's around finance, and that links very clearly onto the third section of my slide there. There's some information about how to manage your finance as a new business, and if that is something that's particularly of interest to you, then under the business finance finance support on the bottom of that on my screen there, there's some clear offer for startup businesses. So they drill down more into understanding cash flow and understanding accounts and how to increase your knowledge of your own business finance position. Because we recognize most of the time people start businesses because they're passionate about something. They're passionate about the product or service that they deliver. And that doesn't make you an expert in running a business. That makes you the expert in your product or service. And so we recognize, particularly at the early stages, businesses need help. People need help in terms of making sure that their business is viable and successful from a financial point of view. And needing to develop those skills. So that is available to you. And as you can see there, that links very nicely with the business support offer, the business finance offer. So that's for businesses who are yet to start or have been trading less than a year. Moving on to more established businesses, so that you might have some goals, some growth goals that you want to set for your business, whatever that looks like. That doesn't have to be, turning over £1 million. That could just be increasing your turnover, increasing your profit margin, understanding your efficiencies and productivity within your business. This isn't just for huge turnover businesses, but there is a turnover level. So you need to be turning over £75,000 or more to access this support, and that's about making step changes in your business. So that's understanding where you want to get to and then putting the roadmap in place to do that through sort of setting strategic goals. They're also through workshops online. There's three workshops underneath the growth planning. So that's first about is assessing sort of your business framework and understanding that business model, that making sure that the logistics of your business works. Also looking at sort of entrepreneurial styles, so understanding what kind of entrepreneur you are and how that might work for you in terms of business planning, and looking at business diagnostics as well. And then finally, the third session is very much about growth planning. So it's a deep dive into sort of growth planning and understanding about action planning. And so basically what you come away with is a very, very clear plan about where you want to go and how you want to get there. So that's the growth planning. And then just moving on to the business finance. So as I said, there is a startup element to that. So for emerging or new businesses, there's clear support around understanding your finances. But actually, it's for all sizes and shapes of business. It's from pre-start all the way through to high growth businesses and everything in between. So it's looking at financial readiness. So that brings in that startup support element, and then business planning and forecasting. And so that can be for any business, established businesses or new businesses, properly understanding your financial management information and understanding how you can use that to drive growth within your business. There's some help with grant applications. So if you are planning to apply for a grant funding, or whether that's through the Growth Hub or actually through other organisations, then there's some grant funding, grant planning for you, grant application support. And that's not just for commercial grants or sort of business grants. That could also be for the social economy as well. So if you are a community interest company, social enterprise, even a registered charity, and you were looking for help with some fundraising, some bid writing, there might be there's some support there for you. And also funding applications, so things like Innovate UK and or applying for commercial loans or that kind of thing. So again, it's about funding applications broader than public sector grants. There's some growth support as well through the business finance offer. So that's very much looking at sort of strategic leadership with a sort of finance sort of mirror on that. So if you are further down your experience in terms of a business, and you're looking again to make that step change in terms of finance, there's some support to help you around that. And also there's lots of online tools available for you to they've got an online studio essentially, where it's sort of you go through a series of workshops, a series of sessions, and then coming out the other end you might get a cash flow forecast, for instance. So it's helping you develop your own tools, because we do recognize that lots of businesses don't have the funds to pay accountants to do all of that for them. So that's very much digital tools. And I think the thing to say about the business finance is it can help you with understand your business finance management information, and maybe small grants or small raises, all the way through to established businesses who might be looking to get equity finance or angel investors. You might be looking to land a very large raise. So it's really a very broad offer, and there is something for everyone within that business finance offer. Manufacturing businesses. So it's easy to think here, I'm not a manufacturing business. You might not identify as a manufacturing business, but when we talk about manufacturing here, what I'm talking about is if you take a raw product and then you do something to that product that is then added value. You might bring a number of materials together to create a product. You might take one raw product, process it to the point that it then becomes an added value product. And that idea is, for instance, like a coffee manufacturer. So you might take a bean, you roast it, you grind it, you package it, and then you sell it on. If from our point of view, that would be a manufacturing business. So it's not just engineering, putting sort of widgets together in an online a production line. Then there's lots of scope here for businesses that might not identify as manufacturing. And that's very much about helping businesses identify how to be more efficient and productive, and potentially using those digital technology solutions. So that might be someone who wants to bring in a customer relationship management system, for instance, or maybe an enterprise resource planning product. So that's sort of very large scale adoption of digital technology. But actually, it might be something very simple. Example of that is a business that's working with this business support, and they have a gauge at the other end of their factory that their supervisor has to walk backwards and forwards, and he does 7,000 steps a week, just going backwards and forwards to monitor that one gauge. And what they've done is they've put a sort of GoPro, like a camera on that screen, with some recognition software, so that person now can check that gauge from their chair. Not very good for his energy and exercise, so he's going to have to find his steps from somewhere else. But it's in terms of that efficiency, that person is now not walking up and down the premises. So it's very sort of simple, off the shelf, low cost scenarios that will help make a change and make your business more productive. And then they can look at actually the way that you run your business as well. So it's not just about digital technology, it's about being more innovative in your business in general. So if you think you might fit into that manufacturing focus, then that might be for you. There's also net zero support. So that's very much around helping businesses understand what their current emissions are, then putting a decarbonisation plan in place to reduce, to move towards that net zero, and then effectively monitoring that. So they do that through, like I said, understanding what your carbon footprint is, and then looking at decarbonisation plans. There's workshops and training toolkits to make sure that you're fully skilled and trained up to understand what those, what that technology, that measuring means, and you can react to it. And also there's some research. This is delivered by one of the universities, and there's very much research around specific organisations. If they've got a really in-depth or complicated carbon footprint, then there might be some research that actually the university could deliver to help with that. And there's things that also workshops around things like managing plastics. So if you currently use plastic in your packaging and you're looking to move away from that, you can investigate some of the alternative options. Like raw materials, reducing your raw materials and therefore your raw waste. Look at solar feasibility potentially. So, if you brought solar into your business, would that be useful and helpful? And also waste management. So it talks about that circular economy. If you've heard about that, it's essentially reuse, recycle, and reduce ambitions. So looking at your current waste materials and trying to reduce that. We also have research, development, and innovation. And that can be, that's businesses who have got an innovative idea for a service or a product, or actually you might be looking to change the way you do things in your business and bring in innovative new technology or processes within your business. So essentially, as you can see, that's exploiting new ideas, and you might have this fantastic idea for a new piece of technology or a new service or a new product, but you know what it will do, and you know that it's great, but you're not quite sure how to bring it to fruition. So that's all the way through from concept, so that initial idea, through to commercialization. And they will help, they're sort of like a critical friend from that point of view, because Not every idea is great, and sometimes you need someone to feed back to you going, actually, there's already a million of these things in the market, but actually if we twist it, if you nuance this idea into something different, then there is a gap there. So it's actually really that really useful sort of business partner in terms of developing that new idea or that new product, that new service, and making sure that it's tested every part of that journey, all the way through to actually helping you launch it to market potentially. So there's actually sort of product launch support there as well. And there are various degrees of support. So sort of quite high level initial stages, and then you might be able to go off and carry on yourself. And then actually there is sort of like gated support through. So all the way through to really in-depth, again, research. This is delivered by a university. So really in-depth research to understand where that product or service might be. And also there's loads of technology, and there's loads of resources available through the university as well. So that's something that it's a route through to take advantage of the university in that respect. Recruitment support, very, very key, is particularly at the moment we've got with a skills shortage, and after coming out the back of COVID, where lots of people are working remotely, and so therefore can actually the pool for businesses is larger, but also more challenging. So this recruitment support is very much focused on helping businesses to identify challenges within their recruitment, and then put the processes in place to better support that. So that's from understanding some of the fundamentals, so things like legal compliance, workforce planning, all the documentation you might need to recruit, particularly. So it might be actually that you're recruiting for the first time potentially, and you need some help pulling those things together. And then that's the first sort of workshop, and then a second workshop basically looks at the specific role that you might be looking at. So some of the pre-employment information, how to advertise, where to advertise, how to write the best advertising, marketing, how to interview, and that might even mean somebody from the support organisation sitting with you to interview. So it might even be at that level. Making the offer and any negotiation that might mean, and then first day and beyond. So actually the support doesn't finish once you've recruited that person. There is actually ongoing support to make sure that you're retaining your staff as well, and that might be things like benchmarking against what other people are doing. And also within this offer, there is a very small number of subsidies. So if there was a specific role that you were that was challenging to recruit to, there might be a short-term salary subsidy available as well. But that would very much depend on the business and the type of role. The business development, that's a very high level way of describing a really varied offer. So again, there's some startup support here in terms of startup fundamentals. So that's things like business models, legal, being aware of your legal responsibilities, looking at things like risk and insurance, and all sort of the logistics really of starting a business. So there's some support around that. There's also some support specifically for marine or marine related businesses. So you don't have to be a boat builder, but you might be within the marine supply chain, for instance. There's very clearly support around that, like one-to-one support, one-to-one business support around sort of marketing, new products, and also access to research. There's also through the Good Growth Programme, which is the overarching one, there's a very clear focus on helping businesses be more environmentally sustainable, and also more socially responsible as well. So through this business development offer, we can help businesses understand what their social value is and how they might be able to lever that, particularly if you are looking to bid for contracts, particularly with the public sector, but actually wider now in the commercial sphere. Businesses who are looking to bring suppliers on board are looking for businesses to be more environmentally sustainable and to prove their credentials in that area, and also show their social responsibility as well. So there's some support to help understand what that might mean and understand how you can articulate that better. But also if you haven't started that journey yet, then actually it might be something you're interested in. And there's some elements around inclusion and well-being as well. So if you are looking to be a more inclusive employer, if you're looking to really grow your business and support and retain your staff by focusing on their well-being, there's some support around that as well. And then finally, skill support. So some of you might be aware through the European programme in previous years, the Growth Hub had a sister project called Skills Hub. That has now been integrated within the Growth Hub offer. So essentially, we are absolutely here to work with businesses to understand the skills they need now and in the future to grow their business. So what we do is we talk to businesses, individuals, and also larger businesses, obviously understanding what the skills your team might need, where the gaps might be, and then we go away and do the research to understand what the training offer, the best no cost, low cost training offer could be for you. Can't always guarantee to find funded training, but we will always look at the best value for money, and that could include things like apprenticeships. So if you're looking to bring apprenticeships on apprentices on board to your business but don't really know where to start, again, very much like the business support landscape, there's over 150 training providers in Cornwall. So understanding which one is right for you can take time and effort, and what we're here to do is take that hassle out, take it away from you. So that is, you don't have to employ. We can talk to sole traders and self-employed, but obviously if you do have 1, 2, 3, 10 employees that you're looking to understand how skills can help them be more productive and therefore grow your business, then that skills offer is absolutely there for you as well. So that's really a very much a whistle-stop tour through the business support offer. Obviously, all of that is available now, and it's available throughout the rest of the year. We are here, we have been commissioned until March 25. But what I would say is, don't delay, get in contact with us, and we're very keen to introduce you to that business support. And as I said, also we can talk to you about that that project that you were perhaps looking to get investment. And even if we are unable to supply a grant to you at the moment, that business finance offer is still there. That is called Access to Finance Plus. You might have been aware that has a previous version through the European programme as well. And we can't guarantee to find you another grant, but what they are able to do is look at different investment options for your business, different finance options. So if you were looking to buy a bit of kit, for instance, they can investigate asset finance for you and that kind of thing. So just because the grants are currently paused through the Growth Hub, if there's any other funding available, then they will look at that. But if not, then they can also look at your financial management information to see if there's a way you can bring additional finance into the business in a different form. So I think I'll leave it there, Julie, and I think I'm going to suggest I stop sharing so we can actually come back together. Is that okay?
That's great, thank you. Thanks so much, Kirsty. That was really helpful. Oh, I'm just sorry, my screen's just changed. Right, so I guess if anyone has any questions, please unmute yourself or pop it into the chat, don't mind which, and go ahead. Claire, I can see you've unmuted.
Yeah, so my question, I mean, I may well have missed something. What I've got is a business that has been running since 2011, and during that time, I mean, I'm self-employed. It's in wellbeing, and it has been morphing and changing. And I've recently relocated down here to Cornwall. What I found with my business, it is a small business, so I'm not a startup. However, so I'm looking to grow my business. But I think I heard when you were talking about that the growth advice was only available to those with a turnover of 75,000. Which I don't have anywhere near that. So my question is really, is there any kind of advice that's available for me? There are a number of other things that I have to take into consideration as well, about inclusion and accessibility for myself, because I am as yet undiagnosed, but I am, I'm neurodiverse, basically, only discovering this at the age of 57. So there you go.
Okay. I mean, what I would say, Claire, is that £75,000 turnover plus is a specific support offer that has been commissioned. So that is called In Focus, and that is a specific offer through Unlocking Potential. However, there are sort of general support growth planning available through a number of different offers. So therefore, what I would say is absolutely very keen to talk to you, particularly around that social inclusion and well-being. I think that offer through the business development might be of use. We're also, I don't know how you're constituted in terms of, you said you're a sole trader, but also we have some support coming online very soon around social economy and helping those sort of social focused businesses. So it'd be great for you to get in touch, because what we can do is sort of have you on that list, and as soon as that new offer is launched, we can then bring you back on board. So
thank you, that sounds very, very helpful. Thank you very much.
Any more questions? No, I have a couple that might be of use. I'm just thinking, you mentioned there about skills. A lot of the businesses in Hayle are quite small. Would it be at all appropriate if a group of those small businesses were to get together and approach you, or does it have to work very much on an individual business perspective?
Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure we've ever considered that before. I think if there were a number of businesses that had similar asks, because I think the whole point of the Growth Hub is very bespoke. So we take each individual business and their needs on a case-by-case basis, on an individual case-based basis. But for instance, if you had a series of, say, retail businesses that were all having a challenge in a particular area, there's no reason why we couldn't then organise maybe a joint business review where they're on together, and actually then it sort of I hate the phrase bang for your buck, but you know what I mean. It's actually helping businesses share information as well, and actually what the result of that review would be what we call a training needs analysis. So it's understanding the needs of that business. But actually, if it was the needs of a variety of businesses or a group of businesses, then actually that's a stronger case to go to a provider to say, you know, could you put this training on for, because we've already got, say, 12 people who would fill that need. So I think we'd definitely be interested in talking to people about that. And Julie, I could put you in contact with my colleague Bethany Allen, she's the growth operations manager. So my counterpart, I'm more focused on grants and investment, whereas she focuses on skills and business support. So and she was the project manager for Skills Hub. So she's got a very clear, very strong skills background. And I think it would be useful if that was something that businesses in your local area would find helpful, then absolutely we could investigate that.
It's certainly something, if it was of interest to people, I could coordinate, just because I know that for, you know, in terms of training, budgets for training are going to be pretty slim at the moment. So as a group of people, it might work. Just before I ask another question, has anyone else got a question that they'd like to ask? Because it's really about what you need support with rather than
stunned into silence.
Yeah, so obviously in terms of funding support, completely understand why you've had to make the decision that you have. Are there any other kinds of funding support available in Cornwall or sort of the wider country that people could apply for, that you're aware of?
I mean, there are always pockets of funding. Often they're very specific or niche. So it's very difficult to say, to sort of give a headline of here's the funding that's available, because it's always going to be exclusive of other things. And that's one of the reasons why we focus on understanding individual business needs. And then we'll go, depending on what sector that business is, depending on what their product or service or offer is, depending on what stage business they are. Obviously, there's things like startup loans, which offer very competitive interest rates in comparison to sort of, you know, the commercial bank offer, and that kind of thing. So it's always very difficult to give a definitive list of what funding is available. What I would say is there is a project coming online fairly soon under the food and drink banner. So particularly looking at food and drink producers. That will have a small grant scheme within it, but it will be small. I think we're talking about £5,000, but that's due to launch hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So what I would say is, actually, let me post this into the chat. So I should have had this prepared, so apologies. So I'll just keep nattering while I talk. But first of all, I'll put the link to the business support website. So, and obviously you can then share that. Hopefully, has that come up?
Yeah.
Yes. And then also I'll do the grants as well. So just in case people were interested in what the themes of the grants are, and therefore if you've got one of those, if you've got that strong project that you think you want to investigate and want and suggest to put onto the reserve list, you can do that. But the other thing that I would recommend if people haven't done it already is to sign up to our newsletter. I know everybody is bombarded with information on a regular basis, and so feel free to ignore most of them. But what I would say is that this link here is the sign up to our newsletter. It's on a weekly basis, but what we do is we share new news about new support, new grant funding, new offers, as well as sharing sort of successful business news. So feel free to sign up to that newsletter. That will then help you understand what's coming through the pipeline in terms of funding and support. But also please be aware that you can register on the Growth Hub website, and actually you can share your own news. So if you're celebrating success within your business, if you're launching something new, you can share your own news and that gets posted on our site. You can also look at events coming up but share your own events. So obviously these sessions with Julia are on our website as well, and anything that's shared on our website we will then put out via our social media channels and appears in our newsletter. There's also a business directory, so you can put a free business listing on there as well. So it's just that added value of, it's another route to market. It costs you absolutely nothing except a little bit of time to put some information in, and you can then benefit from our search engine optimization, our SEO. We work really hard to make sure that our website is at the top when people search for businesses, and so therefore you can piggyback off that, and it's just another route to market should you need it for your business.
I have to say, Kirsty, and I should mention to everyone, I used to work for a business support program before I worked for the town council, and it was when the funding came from ERDF. It is so much easier just knowing there's one port of call and they will hold the information about everything. So you no longer need to be signed up to loads of different newsletters. I'm signed up to it and it's really helpful, giving the big picture. If someone is coming to you for support, say when they register, is there anything that they need to have in place or anything they need to do before they register? There are certain things that bits of paperwork they need to have, or
not for the business support. For the grants it is. So but I won't go into too much detail for that. I mean, grants, if you are looking to maybe put that grant proposition that you have onto that reserve list, then you absolutely need to be clear about what that project is. We get people approaching us all the time saying, what can I get a grant for? And we go back and go, well, what do you want a grant for? What do you want to achieve? And it needs to come from the business. You need to have an idea of what you need to achieve and what you need that grant funding for, rather than sort of like going, what's available. So we're looking for businesses with clear, defined project. So that might be buying equipment, that might be bringing in third-party expertise. It doesn't have to be buying physical kit. It can be, if you're looking to export, for instance, you might want to bring some expertise in to help you identify which markets you might be able to reach. So it's absolutely third-party expertise into your business, as well as what we would call capital spend. So physical assets that last a while. So we need to understand that, need to understand costs and things like that. I won't go into too much detail for the grants because I don't want to sort of raise expectation too much in that area. However, business support, it is go and have a look at the website and see what might be of interest to you. But essentially, what we want to understand is, what do you want to achieve in your business? So is that just general business growth, but you need some help sort of crystallizing what that looks like? Or actually you might have a clear idea of where you want to take your business, but you don't quite know how to get there. And that could be from taking on your first employee all the way through to extending, taking on new premises or something like that. And we've talked about this for 8 years now, understanding what growth means to individual businesses, and it can mean different things to different people. Not everybody wants to be Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. Not everybody wants to have multi-million-pound businesses. What they're looking for is having a successful business that delivers what they need for themselves and their family. That's absolutely fine. So it doesn't always mean getting bigger. It doesn't mean taking on staff and taking on bigger premises. It can just mean doing things more efficiently and more productively, understanding how to run your business better to get more out of it. So I think that's we're always keen to talk to businesses who have got a clear idea about what they want to achieve with their business and just need some help getting there. But if you are you know you want to do something with your business, but you're not entirely sure where to start, then we can have those conversations as well.
I think that's really important for the businesses in Hayle, because there's quite a variety. A lot of people are, you know, it's just them, but even just looking at who's here, they're all quite different businesses, quite different things that they're looking at. So it's I'm glad you've explained the idea of growth. The word's a bit misleading in some ways, isn't it? It kind of makes you think that it is about exporting or, you know, taking on staff, which it isn't really the only things that people could do.
Yeah.
So can I just check to see if anyone else has any questions? I feel like I don't want to put people on the spot.
So essentially, the key to take away is go and jump on and have a look at the website, see if there's any information that you want to find out more about. On pretty much every page, there's an opportunity to fill in a contact form. We call that our "Tell us about your business" form. Feel free to put to fill that in. We ask for some information about your business in terms of how long you've been running, what your range of turnover is, and what that does is help us understand from the very beginning which support might be right for you. But equally, if after listening to the presentation today and then going onto the website, if you're clear that actually you want to access this particular bit of funding, this particular bit of support, so the business finance, for instance, or you might be looking to launch a new product and you want some help developing that product idea, feel free to put that in terms of what kind of support you're looking for, because that gives us a clear steer to start with about what support you might be interested in, and it obviously gives us a really good picture of the fact that you've done some research yourself and you're clear about what you want to achieve. What I would say is, just because you say you're interested in business finance doesn't mean that you'll just go straight there without us talking to you and looking at the support as a whole, because that's the whole point of the Growth Hub, is that you don't have to understand the in-depth detail of all the business support projects. That's our role, and then we work with you to identify which ones will be best for your business. So essentially, the call to action after today is go on to the website, have a look, have a really understand what the support is available out there, and then fill in that tell us about your business form. One thing I would say is that we are, as you can imagine, with all the support and funding that's been available, we are incredibly busy. So we are working on a bit of a backlog. So we do have, unfortunately, businesses are waiting a little bit longer than we'd like at the moment for us to contact them. But if you're incredibly keen and you really want to crack on, particularly if there are some timescales in your plans that are particularly pressing, there's a telephone number on our website. All you have to do is pick up the phone. If we can't answer, we only have one person on the phone. We're not a call centre. We're not a huge team. But if you can't get through, leave a voicemail and we ring you back. We will ring you back. But essentially, the first sort of port of call is to register your interest on the website with that contact form.
Thank you, Kirsty. I'm just going to check one last time for this, see if there's any questions from anyone. No. So which just leaves me to say thank you so much, Kirsty, for your time today, and thank you everyone for coming. I just wanted to do a little reminder that there are a few events coming up later on in the week. I think some of you have signed up for them, so I particularly want to flag up the coffee morning for arts-based businesses on Wednesday at the Quay Kitchen, which, if you've not been there, it's on East Quay, 10:30 in the morning. And then on Friday we have the business networking breakfast at the Cove Cafe. Early start, 8 o'clock in the morning, and the booking link is there if you want to go to that. It'd be lovely to see you. We're going to have a conversation about whether Hayle should become a business improvement district. It's really just the start of the discussion. There's no decisions made. The decision is made by businesses, so it's just for us to really have that conversation. And Mel Richardson, who is the bid manager in Newham, is going to be delivering a bit of a presentation, and she's really experienced. She's helped set up quite a few bids, so she's a really good person for us to start the conversation with. But thank you so much for coming, and also let me know if there's something you want me to put on to support businesses. So my job is all about helping the business community as well as just generally helping the community. So yeah, just get in touch. But thanks everyone.
Thanks folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.